So,
but yeah, before we get to it, I wanted to speak about how upbringing affects masculinity for both sides, for African men and African American men. And like you said, because most African men they grow up in a two-parent household, so they're able to see how a man acts and they're able to replicate that, whereas in what I'm trying to say is my dealings with African American men on like that level of maybe trying to date and whatnot, what I've seen is that most of them have an anxious attachment style. An anxious attachment style where if someone goes a whole day without maybe messaging you back, that's like a big issue. Or if someone doesn't pick up your call, then that's a big deal. Or if someone doesn't, like if you do not give them attention when they need that attention, then the reaction is, oh, now they want to cut you off immediately. And that's
femininity.
It's not.
Ooh, this is a very interesting one. So, in other words, so what they're trying to say is that it's an anxious attachment style, that if you are calling your woman or texting them and they do not respond the way you would like, or respond in a timely manner, that, if you get mad, that's feminine, according to the African man. I totally reject that. Because here's the thing. I think it's totally contrary to the whole aspect of being a provider. That's my personal take. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, even Jesus told his disciples, go 2 by 2. Wherever you go, right? Mean that you should have someone there with you at all times to just keep you safe. You get what I'm saying? So, and then even the Most High went to Cain, and he said, "Where's your brother?" Right? And where's Abel? And Cain said, "What am I? My brother's keeper?" Right? So the fact that Cain answered that way, what does that show you? It shows you that in actuality, yeah, you're supposed to be your brother's keeper. I mean, that's the whole point, right? So why is this important? Why did I even go here? I went here because, again, there's got to be some level of accountability to know where your partner, your significant other, your wife, where is she? You know what I'm saying? So if I'm calling my wife, you know what I'm saying, I do expect her to, pick up. If I'm texting, I'm actually expecting her to respond in a timely manner. Or else, naturally, the protective nature within a man would start to question, like, is there anything wrong? Especially if you left them by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the men who have to go to work out there, I mean, if you calling your wife and she's supposed to be home, you know what I'm saying, and she's not picking up, logically, something's going to come up to your mind like, what exactly happened? Now, there's many things that can happen. She's probably not next to the phone. She's probably doing some chores, whatever the case may be. But, if there's hours that go by, you left your wife in one place and there's no other logical reasoning as to why she's not picking up, it will eventually, at some point in time, I think it will drive any man crazy. I don't think that it has anything to be, anxious attachment style. And I think this is important too, because I think a lot of times women, they will tend to look up information that only justifies their bias to begin with. So why am I saying that? Because, it's very easy if a woman doesn't want to be held accountable, or if she doesn't want to respond, she'll look up information like that. And, she could just throw that all day, like, oh, well, you have an anxious attachment style. You get what I'm saying? And then kind of trick the man into thinking to himself, oh, maybe I should pull back. You get what I'm saying? I don't want to seem like I'm clingy or nothing like that. No, it has nothing to do with being clingy. It's just being a provider. You're protective. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, I would like to hear what you guys think.
Not that.
No, behaving like a woman.
No, it's not that. It's more of like an anxious attachment style, because most of them, sorry to say this, have grown up in a single parent household. That it comes from a place where you feel like, oh, one parent had to leave, so now I'm staying with this parent, and there's that gap that needs to be filled. In that, when they get to relationships, there's that need for, oh, you need to be with me at all times, or I need to know your whereabouts, I need to know this and whatnot. And you can ask these girls, and I know some girls who have dated African American men, and they're like, oh, I have to send my location all the time, or I can't just leave without telling him, or something like that. You understand? So that's where I say the attachment style comes in, and that's how I perceive upbringing affecting masculinity for both sides.
I see that as insecurity.
Is it?
Because the reason why I say insecurity is because when you've grown up seeing relationships start and end, relationships can become fractured very easily. And a young African-American man can grow up and have a few stepfather figures in his life because it's mom's boyfriend and then mom's fiance and then mom's this or that. And like you've just said, at the drop of a hat, the relationship can end quickly.
So you think you know Wix. Do you really? First up, we've got shit.
And abruptly and very traumatically for a lot of these young men. But in an African household, Mom Dukes will hold it down.
Exactly.
She will weather any storm. There's no amount of fuckery that the old man can put her through that will tell her to leave.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I think African men just happen to be a lot more secure, or they demonstrate that type of secure behavior because they're just like, this is normal to me. If we don't talk every day, if we don't talk every other day, I feel like I'm secure enough to know you ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
You're not leaving me. But that also gives me the freedom to relax and not necessarily cater to you and be all lovey-dovey with you and treat you the way that you may want to be treated.
Yeah, I think there's two different things again, right? Like the girl was mentioning more so if like a man would like to know the whereabouts of this woman, and he mentioned the word insecurity, and then he's talking about, you know, not having to cater to the woman and not having to communicate all the time. And, you know, to some extent, I agree. Like, I do believe there's seasons where you may not communicate as often with your significant other, as much as, let's say, the honeymoon phase or like early on. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. I don't think there's anything like you should worry about, like, oh, maybe the relationship is failing because we're not talking every day. I don't think it goes to anything like that. But at the same time, again, if we're talking about knowing the whereabouts of your woman, I mean, I think that's a very rational thing for any man. Any man you would like to know, especially in this crazy world. Again, I don't think it has anything to do with insecurity. Like, by all means, you know, again, to each their own. I know for me personally, like I said, there's seasons. I may talk to my wife a little bit more than other seasons. Okay, cool. Although every day there's some form of communication, right? But, you know, I'm talking about that deep, intimate talk. But even with that, right, you know, if I need to know where she's at, and especially in this crazy world where we talking about people, you know, literally breaking into people's homes, you know, I mean, especially in America. I mean, truth be told, that's probably everywhere in the world. Anyway, without rambling for too long, this world is a crazy ass place, and I'm not gonna hear, you know, just expect silence or expect never getting a response. And just saying to myself, oh, she's got to be okay. Yeah, she just must be okay. Nah, I'm not going to jump to that conclusion. I mean, this world is crazy as hell. So if you enjoyed this clip, click on the full video right here. And if you would like to see more videos like this, click on the playlist right here. Game hard, y'all.